So we've sold over $10 million in high ticket offers using the exact software stack that I'm about to show you now. I'm not talking about some theoretical best practices nonsense. This is what we actually use every single day to close deals across all of our teams. And here's the thing, I watch so many coaching and info businesses just bleed money because they're using the wrong tools. They buy some shiny new CRM, some all-in-one platform, and somehow leads still fall through the cracks and nobody knows what's going on, and the business owner is scrambling to understand, how do we fix this broken customer acquisition? You see, if this sounds familiar, this video is going to be for you, because I'm about to walk you through the exact tools that we use at every stage of the sales process. And by the way, what I'm sharing today is just scratching the surface. If you've never seen me before, my name is Bendik. I run a company called Closing Consulting, and we help info, coaching, and service businesses scale from 6 figures a month to multi-6, even 7 figures a month in revenue by running and scaling their sales operations. We've done well into 8 figures in client revenue across $3,000 to $20,000 offers and up. And on this channel, I share what's working, what isn't, and what are we actively doing inside of the sales ops that we manage. My goal with this video is very simple. I want to document the lessons we learn, attract top-tier talent to join our team, and attract the right partners by demonstrating confidence first. So if you want your entire sales system built and run for you, I'll leave the link in the description below. But for now, grab a pen and paper because this is going to save you months of testing. Now, a quick note, I'm not covering ad tools and funnel builders because this is the stack that kicks in after someone raises their hand and says, I want to talk to sales. So with that in mind, let's dive in. So it all starts with how you capture the leads that get fed to the sales team. For most of the offers we work with, we run a direct to application funnel. That means that ads or content is going to drive traffic to a VSL or webinar, which then goes to an application form and then booking a call. And we use Typeform for the application. And there's a simple reason why this tool is so powerful. First of all, it actually looks good. So on mobile and on desktop, it just feels a bit premium. But more importantly, it lets us ask real qualification questions. Things like, what's your current monthly revenue? Or how much capital do you have available? So we're qualifying before anyone even gets on a call. It's how we can actually give a lead score to the leads. But what most people don't do is called partial submissions. So we structure the forms so that name, email, and phone number come first. And then we tell Typeform to save that information as a partial application so that even if someone abandons halfway through the form, we still have their contact information. And those partials go straight into the CRM and the setters start calling them immediately while email sequences get sent out to nurture those leads. And here's where it gets really interesting. Instead of making someone fill out a form and then hit submit, load a new page, pick a time for their call, and then fill out their info again, we just embed Calendly directly as the last step of the Typeform. The Typeform already has their details, so now the prospect simply makes one click to choose a time and one click to confirm. No second form, no slow redirect to thank you page, there's no friction and we're not losing leads. And you see, that one change alone massively increases the percentage of people who actually get on the calendar. And people who book a call are always more committed to showing up and talking to us than people who just filled in a form. Now, once someone applies or books, there are 2 questions. Where are they in the pipeline and how are we talking to them? So for the pipeline, we use Monday.com as our CRM. And listen, I've tried them all. Close, HubSpot, Pipedrive, Go High Levels Pipeline, like all the software's out there. But for high ticket setter closer teams, Monday wins for one simple reason. You can see the entire pipeline and all the key info on one screen without clicking into every single card. As we build boards per offer with columns for lead source, stage, owner, next action, notes, everything. And you can filter by closer, by date, by stage. It's kind of like having the whole machine in one dashboard. Now for actually communicating with the leads, we use Go High Level. So that's where the setters and closers make calls, where SMS and email sequences run, and where nurture flows actually reach out to these partial applications, no-shows, etc. So the first message we send out is always automated. And that gives us a speed to lead that just can't be matched by humans alone. But every single touch point after that is highly personalized and is done manually by a human setter because no one likes messages that they know are automated. And automation is going to be able to personalize messages as well as a trained appointment setter can. And here's a little secret. We also use a tool called LinkBlue to get iMessage numbers inside of Go High Level. So when we then text someone with an iPhone, it's going to pop up as a blue bubble, not as a green one. And also because in the first message we write, hey, this is Bendik from XYZ company, when the setter then calls them, most of the time their phone's going to show there's an inbound call from this and this phone number, could be Bendik from XYZ company. So it feels like a real human, not some automation. And that means that pickup rates go way up, which means we're going to increase the throughput of leads to calls to closes. Now, let me tell you something. You cannot run a sales team, let alone multiple sales teams, out of just email or WhatsApp or iMessages. It just doesn't scale. So we use Slack, as most of you guys probably do, and we set it up so that the team has a live pulse on everything that's happening. And for each sales team, we have a general channel and we have a dedicated alerts channel. So in the alerts, Zapier is going to send a message every time a new application comes in, a partial comes in, a call gets booked, or a key stage in the pipeline changes, whether it's a no-show, closed won, closed loss, etc. And you see, our setters are basically trained like Pavlov's dogs at this point. Slack pings, and they know a new lead just came in, they drop everything in their hands and then go call that lead. So they can jump on them right away, decrease the speed to lead, and actually get in touch with a prospect while they're still thinking about the ad that they saw. And we also have a wins channel where someone from our operations team is going to drop wins from the customers who are actually using the product or service, whether it's screenshots, testimonials, reviews, success stories, and that just keeps the team emotionally sold on the offer and gives them fresh proof to use on the sales calls. Now, let's talk about how to track and measure performance, because this is where most teams either go full automation nerd, trying to like automate everything and do it super complicated, which just leads to the reps not really knowing their own numbers, and also automation is breaking so that their numbers become, just unreliable. Or they just drop the ball entirely and they don't really track anything at all. And they say, yeah, but we kind of know what our numbers are. And this is more common than you would think, even with 6- and 7-figure companies. Now, we deliberately mix manual and automated tracking. So daily KPIs gets entered manually into Google Sheets by each individual setter and closer, whether it's, dials, pickups, sets, shows, closes, revenue, the whole shebang. And we do this on purpose because it forces the rep to own their numbers and makes it obvious when someone's off. And the other advantage is that we also know that the numbers are always correct. There's never an issue with integrations not working or giving us the wrong data. So this really forces the reps to own their numbers, and it makes it obvious when someone's not doing what they're supposed to do. And the other advantage to this is that we know the numbers are always correct. There's never any issues with integrations not working or giving us the wrong data, or all of a sudden we lose data from the last 3 months. And if you want to make quality decisions, you need to be data driven. And it's obvious then that you have to be able to trust the data that you base those decisions on. And on top of that, we use Typeform for end-of-day reports. So short form, we ask them questions about the calls they had, what went well, why we lost deals, feedback on lead quality, and that sort of stuff. And these are transparent throughout the entire team, and leadership reviews them daily. So it keeps a tight feedback loop without requiring tons of time spent daily by the entire team to give status updates and sit on calls. So instead, meetings can be minimized and they're reserved for sales training or decision making. And let me tell you, the sales team loves this, because when you get paid on commission, every hour you spend on a meeting is time you could have spent closing deals or just doing something else because you're not getting paid for it. And once we have the data in KPI trackers, we push all that into Looker Studio to generate visual dashboards. So for each offer, we can see exactly what is happening in each stage of the acquisition process. How much are we spending on ads, leads, and call volume, calendar utilization rate, cost per call, cash per call, etc., etc. And this also shows us trends over time. So we're not just looking at numbers in a vacuum. You can see what's changing and why. And this kind of visibility is just non-negotiable. It lets you make decisions based on real data, and it means revenue leaks get caught immediately instead of bleeding you dry for weeks, only to then figuring out, oh, this is why we're not making any money because of this problem. And by the way, if you're interested in learning more about what exact KPIs we track, how we set up the dashboards, and how we use this to make decisions, there's going to be a video that I'll link in the description. You can go check out after this. Now, this is actually my favorite part, and I attribute a lot of our success to this, because you see, most teams either drown in call recordings or just give up in reviewing them entirely. And here's how we do it differently. So we use Fathom for recording and transcribing calls. So it joins the sales team calls, it records everything, and it gives us searchable transcripts. And then we feed those transcripts into Claude and into a custom AI that we got access to from acquisition.com, which you probably know is Alex and Leila's Hormozzi's private equity firm. And so they train this thing on operational data from inside of 9-figure businesses. It's not some generic ChatGPT prompt, but it's actual data from companies doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And so we're looking for compliance issues, patterns where the reps lose deals, what's actually working, script problem, and voice of customer language, so we can hand that to marketing and they know how to do better advertising. And again, AI does not replace human call reviews. It just increases the leverage of your time as a manager, because the standard management process is to just pick a few random calls, watch maybe 5 hours out of a 40-hour week, and then conclude on what's broken in the sales process based on an opinion that's formed by seeing 10% of the work that's done. So what we do instead is that AI processes the transcripts, 100% of the calls that are taken by the team. And we then get a report showing us which calls and which timestamps are worth our time based on what we know are the most likely compliance or performance issues for that individual rep. And then we go straight to those moments. So it lets us be super precise and spend more of our time actually fixing what's broken than just aimlessly listening to a couple random calls from start to finish. And the mistake here is if you don't actually watch enough of the reps calls and you think ChatGPT can do all this for you, because that is absolutely not the case. But if you're smart about it, this gives you a tremendous amount of leverage because you can be specific and you can guide your focus and attention to where you're gonna get the best ROI. Now let me tell you about something that most people completely overlook, which is hiring and onboarding of sales reps. You see, we don't use some fancy recruiting software. We just keep it simple inside of our existing tools. So we have a talent pipeline that's based inside of Monday for all the setter and closer candidates. So every stage is then tracked from application to an interview, testing, and that sort of stuff. And essentially we then manage our talent leads the same way we manage our leads for the clients that we close for. And once we do hire someone, we don't just schedule a 10-hour onboarding call where we kind of like brain dump everything into the closer's head that they need to know about the offer and the systems, how to get paid for the sales you're doing, and that sort of stuff. And I know that sounds obvious, but this is what most companies do, and it just turns into a mess very, very quickly. Instead, we've built out extensive playbooks and SOPs covering everything about our offers and operations in one place. And this lives inside of Notion. So when we onboard a new person to our team, 80% of the onboarding process is handled automatically. They learn about our SOPs, offer breakdowns, scripts, training videos. It's all in one place. And so we build that clear day one, week 2 paths so that each rep knows exactly what to do and in what order. And you see, this is the difference between just hiring a closer and plugging someone into a real sales organization. So when someone joins, they're not just jumping on a call and kind of winging it. They're getting a full structured system. And by the time we do the first onboarding call, they don't need a ton of training before they're ready to start handling live calls. And that is where our time is best spent to make sure they get ramped up and actually can start producing. And let me talk about something that a surprisingly high number of these high ticket businesses completely sleep on, which is financing. And you see, for payments, we integrate with whatever fits the client usually, whether it's Stripe or WAP or their own processors, whatever we can use to take payments on the call. But here's what actually moves the needle, which is offering financing options. And let me be clear, this has been a game changer for us. Just think about it from the buyer's perspective. We're asking someone to pay $5,000, $10,000, maybe even $20,000 in cash up front. Or maybe you offer a payment plan, like 2-3 big chunks, but that's still a lot of money to pay at once. And also you have a risk of not getting paid. And a lot of people who genuinely want to work with you, who would be great clients, just can't make that work. But when you offer financing split over 12 to 24 months, suddenly that 10K program is now $400 a month. And that's a completely different conversation. And as an example, one of our clients sells a $6,000 program teaching people how to invest in real estate. So everyone who buys the program has more than enough cash sitting around to pay for this upfront, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to invest in real estate. But still, over 80% of the sales that we do are done with our financing partners. Because even though they can technically afford it, they want to conserve their capital to actually buy real estate. And so if we couldn't offer this to them, we would be losing out on tens of thousands of dollars in sales each month. And this is one of those things that just seems small. So a ton of companies that we talk to haven't even bothered setting it up, but it completely changes your sales operation. And you'll see more sales come through and a higher cash collection rate. And the easiest way for your business to get financing is either through Klarna on Stripe or just getting an account on WAP, where you can actually just Klarna, split it, and at this point of watching the video, probably even some other financing partners as well. So there's a dozen different companies to go with, but the key here is just to work with someone who has a high acceptance rate, instant payouts, and a low interest for the customer. Now listen, the point of this video isn't go sign up for a bunch of new tools. The point is that every single tool in our stack has a clear purpose, and we've tested a lot of combination, and this is the setup that works best for the teams that we run. But here's the thing, tools, it's only part of it. What actually makes this work is the system underneath. How the teams are trained, how we structure the pipeline, how we manage performance, how everything connects from marketing to close. And that's the stuff that we build and run for clients at Closing Consulting. So if you're doing at least $100,000 a month with a high ticket offer, maybe you're doing 200, 300, maybe even 500,000, and you're tired of being the one who's holding the entire sales operation together, then we can help. So we come in and build staff and run your sales operation so that you can step out of sales without revenue dropping. And I've left a link in the description below. And I can't guarantee that we're gonna be the right fit, but I can guarantee the call will leave you better than we found you. And if you're a closer looking to work inside of a proper sales organization, not just buy a course or join some random offer, there's also a link below to apply to our talent network, because we're always looking for the next day player to join our team. And if you just want to learn more of these secrets of how we operate our sales teams so you can implement that yourself, then go check out the rest of the videos we have on this channel. Make sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.